Welcome everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Duana Welch, and she's the author of Love Factually, 10 Proven Steps from I Wish to I Do. And I'm so excited to have her here today because today she's telling us the top 4 places to meet Mr. Right. And I think that's like the number one question I get from women, so this is great. But before we jump into it, Duana, I would love for you to tell our audience what made you write this book, Love Factually.
Suzanne, thanks so much for having me on again. So I wrote Love Factually because I wanted something besides just opinion to guide me in the most important decision of my life. I wanted science. And there weren't any science-based books about this process, but I didn't want to read. I wanted a book that read like my best friend was talking to me over a glass of wine in the kitchen. I did not want a book that was dry and dusty and sounded like scientific research. Nothing that bridged that gap existed. So I started looking at science first for myself after a bad heartbreak, and then people started asking me for the book, and I thought, okay, I'll write the book, but when I write it, I want it to sound kind of like, Brené Brown does Love, that kind of thing.
Awesome.
So I wrote it.
Well, and it obviously worked for you, so that's great.
Yes.
Well, so tell us the top 4 places to meet Mr. Right, because my audience is dying to know.
So, I was dying to know also. So I'm going to tell you a really surprising one, and this one may only apply to 10% of people, but it's so good, I just can't not put it in. And that is look for your future in your past.
What does that mean?
So for some women, they had a love when they were a child, or maybe in middle school, or maybe in high school, or maybe a young adult. They may have never even held hands with this person, but they loved him, and they've always compared everyone else to him unfavorably. He is the gold standard. And there's a profile for these people who get back together successfully. If it's been more than 5 years since you were parted, and if the reason you parted was because your parents moved you away from each other, or your parents forced you to break up, or there was some background difference, like you were Italian and he was Jewish and your parents said, no, you can't do this. In those cases, it can be really a good idea to reconnect with that lost love, and that's the term that scientists like Nancy Kalish use for this is your lost love. If, on the other hand, you broke up because this person was a bad human being, or you had value clashes, or they treated you badly, well, yeah, then they're still a bad human being with value clashes who will treat you badly. Those things don't change that much. But what Nancy Kalish has found in her research is that when people do fit this profile, they are blissfully happy. When they reconnect, they often know within 1 hour that this is the one for them. And you want to know what their divorce rate is? 2%.
Really?
Their divorce rate. Everybody thinks, oh, it was puppy love, it could never work.
Right.
My eye. 98% of these marriages are blissfully happy for the rest of their lives. Only 2% divorce rate. That's the lowest stats on the books.
That's awesome.
Ladies, if you've been thinking about someone for years and years who was a good match for you at the wrong time, look him up, unless you are married or he is married. I want to caution you, even if you're happily married and you're just thinking, I wonder whatever happened to Ted, stop wondering. Because if you're happily married and he's happily married to other people, let me tell you from the science what's 60% likely to happen. You're going to leave your spouses for each other, or more likely, you, the woman, will leave yours, and he won't leave his, and there you are without a husband being the other woman. So this only works if you're both single, but if you're both single, go for it. What are you waiting for?
Okay, so that's a really good point. So when she reaches out to him, what should she say?
Hi, it's been a lot of years. How are you doing? That's all it takes.
So all you're saying is all she needs to do is open the door.
That's all she needs to do. It's going to go from there. It's fantastic. I had a lost and found love, and when you reconnect, it's fireworks. I mean, it's amazing. I fell in love with mine in the 8th grade. We never even kissed or held hands. And we didn't even go to the school dance, but we both felt that way about each other. And when I reached out to him, we were in love within 1 hour.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
We didn't wind up getting back together, but for various reasons. But I'm telling you, if you have that person in your past, it's not just puppy love. Go for it.
Awesome. Well, what's the second top place to meet Mr. Right?
So I'll tell you what, the top place is the tried and true friends and family plan, where you allow people in your social network to set you up. That is really. Statistically, still, most people meet that way. And the reason it's so successful is that it capitalizes on familiarity and safety. Safety because you have a layer of accountability there that's already built in, where if this person hurts you, first of all, he's less likely to hurt you because there's that layer. But if he does, you can tell people. And he's likely to care about his reputation. So it's a safety issue. It's also a familiarity issue. Research is really clear that we tend to be happiest with people who are very similar to us. And our friends and family often will try to set us up with people who are very similar to us. So it's a kind of an informal matchmaking process. It works really well. And it involves you telling people in your network that you want to find a husband, if that's what you want. Don't pussyfoot about it. Say what you want. And say what you're looking for. Look, you wouldn't be hesitant to ask if you wanted a job. You would tell everybody in your network. I don't know why people are embarrassed to admit that they want a life partner. A life partner, science shows you're going to be made much happier by the right life partner than by any job, however wonderful. So go for it. Tell people and let them help you out. The feedback that I often get on this from my readers is, well, but somebody set me up once and I had a bad date. So what? You had a bad date. You were going to have bad dates anyway, people. I mean, dating is not fun. I don't know who told you it was fun. It's not. It's work. You're doing a job of finding the best possible partner for you. It's a job. You're going on job interviews. But you wouldn't say, oh, well, that job interview stinks, so I'm never going on another one. So go ahead and let people set you up. So that's number 2.
I'm laughing because you're right. And so what? You had a bad date. You're going to have bad dates no matter where you meet the person, whether it's through friends or family or online or wherever. So, okay, so what's the third place?
A third place is online.
Oh, well, there you go. There's the connection.
Yes, so the Harris survey from, I believe it was 2002 to 2008, collected data on where people met their mates and then correlated where people met their mates with how happy they were. And 2 interesting findings emerged, actually many, but I'm going to focus on 2. The first one is that a third of people met their husband or wife between 2002 and 2008. They met them online. I was blown away by that. That means roughly 1 in 3 new marriages is formed between people who met online, which is my story. I met my husband online. And what was even more interesting is that those people were slightly happier than people who met any other way. Fascinating, huh?
That is actually very fascinating. So what would you say to the women? Because I've been hearing a lot of my clients say to me that they're just meeting creepy men online or this and that, and they want to give up. And I tell them not to. What would you tell them?
I tell them that they are probably on sites that are free, and the creepazoids hang out on the free sites. They need to be paying. The reason they need to be paying is a man who can't or won't afford a paid membership is either playing the field and not serious about finding the right one, or he doesn't have any money, which women find universally repulsive. So if you want a man who is not simply playing the field and trying to get what he can get for free, then you pay and join a dating site. I suggest, in fact, joining several. You're going to, look, I was on 3 paid sites at the same time when I met my husband, and I met good men on all of them. I also met some creeps, but you know what? You don't have to go out with them. You find out beforehand, and you weed them out before you meet them.
Exactly.
And again, no matter how you meet someone, you're going to meet some people that don't click with you. So get over it, move on. It's a job. Dating isn't fun. It's a job.
Exactly. Thank you for reiterating what I tell all my clients. Okay, so what's the 4th place?
The 4th tip is that you need to use something that scientists call the law of proximity. The law of proximity says that you are the most likely to marry someone that you've actually met in person, and that, therefore, the single biggest predictor of who you're going to marry is, strangely enough, geographic nearness. By geographic nearness, I mean really, really near. For example, let's say that you are taking a couple college classes, and you see there's a really attractive guy in that class, and you think, well, I heard from Duana Welch that the law of proximity would help me find someone, so maybe he'll walk over and talk to me after class. Not really likely. You need to sit next to him. By proximal, I mean really proximal. You need to put yourself next to this person. If you work in a workspace with somebody who's cute and single, get your desk moved next to his in the cubicle. If you're at a class, sit next to him. Now, it may sound like I'm telling you to chase guys. I'm not. I'm saying put yourself right under his nose, and if he wants to chase you, then he will. If he doesn't want to chase you, he won't.
Well, and I'm going to take it one step further because I put this tip in my ebook on the secrets to meeting men. Is it's not only about putting yourself in close proximity, it's also about opening the door. And I tell women, once you put yourself in close proximity, it's not about being too aggressive. It's about just opening the door and asking a question or making a comment so that he knows it's okay to talk to you. And it, like Duana says, if he's interested, he will run with it. And he will pursue you. But if you don't open the door, there could still be that barrier. So just take one little step towards him and you'll see what you get back.
That's right. Monica Moore was a sociologist who did research on how women open the door so that men will walk through it. She looked at body language, and she went to all these bars and she looked at which women got the approach from which men. And she found that, ladies, it's really simple. You look at him, you make direct eye contact and hold it, and you do this.
I know.
Smile and do an eye crinkle smile. If at that point, after doing that a few times, if you show him that you're friendly and he doesn't approach, he's not into you, or he has a girlfriend or a wife or something. But if you do that, you have opened the door.
Yes, that is true. And I have a lot of my male clients tell me they look for that sign. So, and you may have to do it twice, just so you know, ladies. It may not happen on the first time.
You may actually have to do it a bunch of times. Monica Moore found that women were doing this multiple times an hour with the same man to get the approach, but it works. So
it does. It's inviting. Well, these have been some great tips. So, Duana, tell our audience how they can find you in your book.
You can find me and my book at Amazon.com. Just type in the book title, Love Factually with an F. I've got it in paperback, e-copy, and audio, or you can get a free chapter at my website, www.lovefactually.co.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. If you like our show, it's available both in video format and podcast format. If you like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. And if you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you would like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.